Oh, that's the meeting. I don't know what else to do. You guys are live. Thank you.
Making what?
Making call? Yours and your husband's? That's awesome.
So you gonna text us all though?
Sure.
Maybe you already know.
I thought that was supposed to be a public meeting. You can have it here.
Over here. I see Phil outside.
New Jersey, Morristown, that's my vote. That's where my daughter is right now, so. You've been there a week. She's still there.
Learning. Sarah and I would say Cleveland, Ohio, but they dissolved it. So yeah.
Oh, he went there too?
Best mission.
That's awesome.
They had too many missionaries go to it. They had to dissolve it.
Oh, anybody that went there, tell now.
One Romania and one.
Romania. Which one was that? That's really cool. And not just the European, like it. That would be
10 months. Early.
oh gosh. Very polar opposites.
Oh, yeah, right. All right.
All right, let's call to order this regular meeting of the Pleasant View City Council this Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, 6 p.m. Welcome, everybody, both of you. Glad to have you here. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, opening prayer and reading your expression of thought by Councilmember Phil Nelson. Phil?
Join me, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are very grateful to be gathered here today as members of this great community. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to sit on this council and to live in this beautiful area. We ask you to please bless us with thy spirit, that we might be guided in this meeting to do what's best for the citizens of this community. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Phil. Item 1B is declaration of conflicts of interest. Have you had a chance to review the agenda? Are there any conflicts to declare? Seeing none, but you play pickleball, don't you?
Okay, maybe a small conflict.
I eat pickles because I'm trying. Devin Hall is trying to teach me how to play pickleball. So he's got his work cut out for him. All right, items 1C is public comments, questions for the mayor and council. Anybody in the public wish to address us? That's not on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move to item 2, consent items. Minutes of July 25th, 2023, both open and closed, and June 13th, 2023, 2 closed sets in the red folder. Any changes, additions, corrections?
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent items.
Motion by Arrington, second by Uri. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 3 is the Pleasant View Pickleball Association discussion regarding PVPA efforts and next steps for Pleasant View Park Pickleball Tournament, court facilities, and coordination with Pleasant View City. Presenters Paul and Elaine Pitcher. I don't know, do we want just to have them lead off? Do we want to preface anything or?
Go ahead. I've just in your packets as a reminder, the city does have a formal partnership with the PVPA. that was adopted via resolution to pursue the possible expansion project. This identifies the location, also identifies some of the city's funding limitations and the PVPA's role in doing fundraising. And in that resolution portion discusses the securement of project funding to move forward with completion of the project, and also discusses the successful ability to relocate all of our existing recreational offerings that are impacted by the change. So just as a quick summation of what's in that agreement. But again, this is a partnership effort. Ultimately, the funds that are being raised by PVPA, we really appreciate what they're doing, would come to the city to be applied toward the project. So sorry, Ann.
No, you're great. I just, the PVPA elected Paul to kind of give us a presentation update on where we're at and where we're going, and just get the council's, give you the idea of where we're at. So Paul, take it away.
Take it away. Yeah, thanks.
It is National Pickleball Day today. In case you
Wow.
didn't know that, I arranged that just for this presentation.
Well done.
Okay, so let's do our little presentation here. We started this process in 2021, so like 2 years ago. And as you can see, the mission statement and the vision of the PVPA and our endeavors to reach those objectives with our interaction with the public as they've used our facility, the existing 4 courts, it's just clearly evident that the need is so great for expanded facility. It's amazing the number of families, parents and kids, young kids with old folks like myself, is just a wonderful opportunity to be able to interact with the public at the courts, and you've seen how it is. So, okay, next slide, please. You can read that. The primary role is to facilitate the acquisition of funds and donations from community and businesses, enabling the realization of the project and subsequently transferring the completed asset to Pleasant View City. And that will be a happy day for everyone. And the board, the Pickleball PVPA board, has worked hard and is working hard to bring this to pass, and we will continue to do so. Okay. These handsome folks there, the one on the far right, I think he had to pay to get that medal.
Like how we didn't use this year's photo. We just kept the one where I am. That's great. Let's just do that.
So the tournament was great that we held this year, and the plans are for another tournament in September, fundraiser, obviously, and to help with the that project. Our tournament we held this year, we had how many participants? 72 signed up. Could have had more, a lot more, if we would have had more courts. And so that's a limiting factor as to what we can do fundraise wise with tournaments. So that will improve though as time passes. Okay, next. Fundraising, you can see the graph there. That's not quite current with where we're at. The center one talks about the levels of contributions or donations. And we've followed that in terms of people wanting bricks or benches or nets or lights or courts type thing. And then the next one on the right-hand side is announcing the tournament, the 15th and 16th, I think is the date. And we're looking forward to that. And that'll be advertised here pretty soon.
So these are just some of the efforts we've done for the fundraising. Like we have the thermometer posted down kind of by the pickleball courts, and then some of these letters we've sent out to businesses and people around the community, and of course advertising the tournaments too. So just these are all kind of examples of our fundraising efforts.
We've been busy. Okay, so phase one, gratefully, Amy and Ann and Sarah have worked hard in the ramp application. And this time, when it was applied for, broke it into phase one, phase two. And the phase one would get us into a playable facility, without the fluff. You know, so it'd be the dirt work, the cement work, surface coating, and nets. And then we could play. And then phase 2 would complete benches, canopies, lights, and all of that kind of stuff would be phase 2. So we've got some yet to do. July, I think we've raised,
Well, on our little thermometer, we were at 48. That was 4 weeks ago or whatever. And now we're at 120
There's like.
on cash donations. 3.
Three.
so we've raised close to $100,000 during the month of July. And we're not done yet. We still need to push forward. We want to get to the phase 1 plateau so that we can do make this thing happen starting this fall. We would hope that the council would agree that even though we're not at that phase 1 level yet, we will be. We would prefer if we could see something, a shovel turning dirt, say, hey, groundbreaking, this is going to happen. And it would generate more interest and more support in the community when they can see something happening. Some have been a little skeptical, like, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. Well, yes, we are. We are going to be able to do it. And we will. So that's one thing we would like is the council to consider groundbreaking and then publishing the RFP so that we can receive bids and move forward with the phase 1 of the pickleball complex. Let's see, was there another slide? Yep, there you go.
What's the phase total?
It was 1.2. That's the entire thing.
It's really not, it's like 300,000 more for the rest, for everything else.
That wasn't bathrooms, that was just the benches and the.
And yeah, if you don't mind if I just clarify a little bit, the main components that were removed from the initial application are the parking additions, and then also because of the way that the initial parking lot was laid out, there was some stabilization, and the intent and hope is that those will still occur and happen. Frankly, once we get 9 more courts, I think that those will be needed. I don't think that at this point, and sorry to kind of correct you, Paul, but we've removed any of the benches or any of those other components. It's really mainly the parking element that was taken out of that. And so,
yeah, that is. Because we can't put names on benches that we don't have benches.
and right now the pricing is all based on, and I will say, I feel like our engineer does a really good job at kind of weighing out based on the other project costs, but based on an assessment there. And so we don't know, because that assessment was done a little while ago, if that'll be up or down or what that'll look like with regards to concrete costs. But at least it gives us a basis to start from.
And the RFP will give us more determined number, right? A better idea. Yeah.
So any other questions on that financial end of it that I can't answer? Go ahead, fire. Elaine can answer.
Well, what, if we do an RFP, because, we're a ways away and that we're not committed to anything at that point. I mean, I think we need to get a more current number, because if the RFP comes, if that comes back at
8,
900, whatever it comes out of, then we're really kind of sunk. I say we do an RFP.
Yeah,
Likely to go down.
I think likely it will go down just because when we looked at it before, concrete was so high.
Well, so I think we need to do that sooner than later, just to get us an idea of where we need to be and what we need to do. So I would propose that we do that. And I don't know, are there 1 or 2? I mean, how many different people put in pickleball courts?
Well, we have some specifications that we want, like we want the post-tension concrete, so the concrete lasts, things like that. But I mean, the downside to getting the RFP is like if it is high and we're not ready to roll with it, then they've invested, some time and effort into giving us a bid and we're not, grabbing it.
We're not committed until we accept.
That doesn't matter. I don't see how we can not do it, because if we're shooting for a number and it happens, I'm hoping it's lower,
Me too.
but if it's higher, then none of this matters for right now. And then we're hurting with ramp as well. I mean, so
We have to look at if we can scale it back farther, a different phase,
Yeah. and then-
maybe 5 courts now, another 4, it's phase 2. I mean, just,
so I think
we don't, there's a lot of unknowns.
I think we need to get an RFP out there for, and maybe have two different versions, the full, all the courts, or maybe, you know, the thing that I don't want to get into is not doing it and doing it right. Because
I agree.
Pleasant View does that all the time, drives me nuts. We do something, we piecemeal it together, and then we don't get anything quality.
Agreed.
And I just, I don't want this to turn into that, because that would be
Yeah, I agree.
horrible. And I do have one question. Maybe I'll follow up after something, because I'm so frustrated with not even able to use our courts as just a citizen. I go out to Plain City or you know, out to the Smith family thing. Courts are open all the time out there. You know, and if this is going to be what?
Mosquitoes.
Okay, mosquitoes, but if we get this, I want to be able to have the regular citizens use it. Tournaments are great, but I want to be able to
Oh, yeah.
go on and play with my family. And I don't know how we avoid that, because it's a beautiful, you know, area. The views are great. And
Farmington had a great
Beautiful.
system where they had certain courts that were not allowed to be reserved at all.
Well, in Farmington, they'll only allow you to reserve 2 courts. That's the max.
but anyway, I just,
Pressure to play.
I don't want that to be a problem, because we're going to make this elite thing. But I want to be able to take my family over and have because I'm not Paul Pitcher. I can't, you know, I'm not to that quality, but I want to just be able to knock the ball around and have some fun time. And we do go out to Plain City, but mosquitoes are horrible. And it isn't, you know, it's a court, but it's not the view's not quite as good. But I can go out there all the time, and I can play pretty much any time.
I know it's popular. Like we said, they're always full. And
So-
that's, you know, why we're doing.
I'm for it. I don't want to cheapen. I don't want to piecemeal it together, and I want to get a price. And I think we need to put an RFP out there and just see what we're dealing with. And if it is, then our decision will be a lot easier one way or the other on what we do.
One of the reasons they're here tonight is probably me. They were going to schedule a kind of a groundbreaking on, I believe, September 22nd.
As part of
As part of that pickleball tournament. And I'm like, look, if we're going to break ground, let's break it right now. A couple of selfish reasons. One, I think we ought to get going on it and not wait till winter to start. 2 is I'm going to be out of town on the 2nd, but really it's like, let's break ground and let's start doing the I mean,
Trade work.
if we're going to sell the sod, you can't sell the sod in December. If we want to sell the sod or even just give it away, we need to cut the sod and start thinking about, you know, doing some groundwork. Number 1, just to start the process. Number 2 is their goal of let's break ground so that the investors, those people who have contributed, can see some progress, and maybe it'll generate some more. You know, is right, is spot on. And I agree with that. And I don't know why it's let's do it next week or 2 weeks and let's start. At least get the RFP out. If we wait till September 22nd to get the RFP out, that's, you know, but we can start selling the sod.
I agree with RFP. Cindy
And-
does have flag football and things like that scheduled, so that would have to be worked out with recreation, but yeah.
Well, who would do the work if you don't have an RFP? I mean, if you don't have, are you talking about the city doing the work?
I'm talking just sod.
and like pull down the backstop.
Backstop,
Like,
the bleacher.
And obviously that's good. Maybe we can find volunteer work for that. Maybe, I mean, there's
that'd be fun ripping down a backstop.
the
It's on a Saturday, it's good, no?
You might accidentally go over to the old city office building too. Oh, whoops, sorry. Sorry.
I think
Focus.
the Orchard Spring Steak says they got like 200-300 kids that want a service project. And I'm not talking little kids, I'm talking young men, young women want a service project. They can roll sod, they can haul sod, they can, you know, obviously we need an add-all or somebody to cut sod, but that can all be set up. But if I hate, first off, I don't want a tractor to just come up and start digging. I think there's some value in the sod, even if it's free, even if the value is we're giving some people some sod. That's better than hauling it away to.
What's more, we'll have even the dirt, if it has a bunch of sod in it, it's worthless to haul away too. So I mean, you get that off, scrape it off.
Yeah,
We're
I'll
gonna do-
absolutely talk more, because
Anyways,
that's one of the things
so-
in the resolution is the coordinating of the existing.
It's like, if we're gonna do this, we need to do it. Let's.
I want to do it, but I don't want to piecemeal it.
I understand 100%. We need the standard that's gonna stand the test of
I want to
time.
make it right, because the course we have there now, we're done right.
They were.
They're very well done. We didn't
Very
skip.
nice.
We did it. We did a good job with them, and it's going to be there for a couple more years anyway. Yeah.
Well, I
So,
think so.
Yeah, we do. We want to have a groundbreaking soon. We figure we can get the RFP out when, Amy?
In the next few weeks.
About like first of September-ish?
So the one thing
Yeah.
for Amy, putting together a RFP, incorporating all of the in-kind donations that we have that count towards the fundraising efforts. But she's got to be able to incorporate those into the RFP so that a bidder can look at it and understand that, oh, wait a minute. They've got this, they got this, they got this, they got this, all of which have to be incorporated in.
Is that going to cost us more?
I don't know.
No,
We'll
no.
have to-
Because I mean, what is our in-kind stuff? Is it labor? Is it concrete? Is it?
Prep, it's.
Well, yeah, like some of it's, but the site prep was from a contractor from the
Yeah.
community. So, I mean, he may
So-
contract the whole thing.
That it's
So
labor.
because we have to be careful with that, because if you,
Oh, work out the
They,
logistics.
No,
they
no.
have to meet the standard or the specifications that would be
So
published
that's-
with the RFP.
but
Thank you. That's an excellent.
But a contractor would say, you know, I'm going to charge X, because I don't want to worry about that and have to now get another sub in there and deal around his time. I mean, all those things are well and good.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We're
Okay.
on the same page.
And there's been some communication with all of the in-kind donators in a request, I mean, very much to Paul's comment, that they meet the standards that we established. So they can't come in and put in subpar work. And then there also has to be some coordination with the contractor as well. And so if it's not workable, then we may have to have some of those smaller donations slip out, or I don't know how that'll work.
RFP will work in such a way, it'll be crafted to the people who actually do the courts, that they will be interested to work with those contractors and stuff. So it'll be very specific. It won't be like, oh, I'm not gonna do that.
I think it'll be fine.
I think we just should do an RFP for the project.
And
Well, the in-kind has to be part of it, because that's a considerable shopping.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll make it work.
So I got just one more item. The naming of the courts for those contributors who want to leave a legacy for their family in the Pleasant View community. We have offered to them naming a court. So we have 3 of those that have done 20K, and it was taken in the order of contribution. Whoever was first got first pick, second, third, so on. So those that have done so have identified court 6, Elena Point.
We have a laser pointer. Don't we?
Right there.
So 5, we're 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so they've taken
5 and 6.
the first 2, they're closest to the center medal score.
So those are going to be named after these contributors, the something family. And whatever words or verbiage they would want on that plaque that would say, this is a legacy for our family. And that, I think, has been very appealing to them to say, you know, I want our kids and grandkids to come and say, oh, look what grandma and grandpa did right here. Here's this plaque that says they did. And that's a huge selling point for a lot of people. And will continue to be that. So if the vision is that
For example, on this one here, there'd be a plaque on the highest part of the fence. Either facing in or facing down. So something like 12 by 16 long, kind of matching the plaque that are on the edge of the park. And I think you've probably seen those.
something of that nature that would say, yep, this is the court, the Cox, the Dunkley, the whatever. And that's what we would propose. Of course, that you would all have to be in agreement to that. So that's the idea of the PVPA.
About the, what about
That's
the,
50,000.
what did you call it, the metal court?
Metal sport,
The metal score,
Isn't that 50,000? That's what.
that's 50,000 for the
if they
metal.
want to be named that, yeah. So, at some point, we need to talk to the council about if we have a major contributor, can we name the complex after them or, something like that, which we'll bring to you if that arises. So that's something.
Mathematically, if we sold 20,000 per court for what's left, we'd go over the amount that we're looking to do for the initial project. So is that towards maintenance? Is that towards?
Definitely could use it for just the rest of it. Yeah,
Well, I'm
whether
thinking
it's landscaping or, yeah, yeah.
150, I guess, yeah.
How does that work for your in-kind? If they, I mean, if do you have anything that approaches that kind of dollar figure and?
We do. Yep. So that's something we'll have to address when we get there.
Say the naming is not, incline's not included. Naming is a $20,000 check. You know,
I don't know.
I don't know, because I mean, you say, well, I'm gonna,
Well, yeah,
Let you come back to recommendation.
that's real numbers. That's a real number naming thing. That's,
so for you council members, if Colony Lane Pitcher can do this, you can.
Name a court? Is that what you're
Name a
saying?
court, name a court. Think of it as a legacy for your family. Talk to your family.
We collectively.
Or-
name the court?
You want us just to come up with a name? Cause I can do that.
Bob.
Just to Bob.
We're talking, come on, let's roll out money.
But we would ask if you guys have any ideas of people or businesses that you think would be willing to contribute any amount, whether it's a court or just anything. We only have 6 of us on the committee and we don't span all of Pleasant View. So, I mean, I don't think we have Dave's neck of the woods covered very well or, yeah. So let us know, reach out and let us know. And we'd be happy to follow up. You don't even have to ask him. We'll stick Paul on him. He's good.
Okay, anything else
I
before?
have couple questions. What the 1.2, is that based on that we didn't do an RFP to get that? So what is that number?
Engineer's estimate, which was like a year ago.
Who did that? Oh,
Dana did that for
Dana
us.
did it? So, and a follow-up to that is the engineering drawings, all that's is it done, completely done? They're doing an RFP and we have all the specs. Everything is very clear on the drawings.
Yep, and the city's funds that have gone toward this project have gone toward that. And then some of the tournaments.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that's it.
No, that's it.
Oh,
We're
there
good.
you go. Well,
So
we kind
we
of,
probably do need to come up with a
handled
groundbreaking though.
the groundbreaking.
Now, when are you proposing? Like, if you want it September 22nd, I'll just miss it, but.
But I would love to invite all the people who've already contributed.
Of course. Yeah. I mean,
That's a great idea, and we would plan on making that invitation. Also, the ramp folks that have funds invested in this or will have, they should be present to get their face in the fire.
right.
All right. So, do you got a proposed date or will you get back to us on it?
Well, you come up with a proposed date. I already came up with one.
If it's not September 22nd.
Why are we waiting clear till the end of it?
Fine.
Let's just do it at the end of August.
September 11th is what, the National Day of Service or something like that?
September 11th?
No, I'm just saying, so if we did the groundbreaking before then, we could get maybe
Yeah.
project put together, because I'm sure there'll be,
Mhm.
you know, either the stakes or Ward or somebody putting together, you know, isn't it September 11th?
So.
I know that's another
September
thing, but
8th, or are you looking at a Saturday?
Before that to give time.
oh man,
The
what
weekend.
about the 26th? Well, that,
The quicker the better as far as we're concerned.
September 4th,
When does school start?
right,
August 23rd.
23rd.
So, yeah, what about the 28th?
That is a food truck night,
August?
not that that matters. But
So what?
the food truck night and a water slide.
Why don't we switch it to down there?
The water slide and everything?
No.
Food trucks?
Oh,
Won't work.
No, let's do it.
That could be on the same night. I don't think you'll have to say.
Let's do it a little bit earlier. Before it starts. Or no, or after.
What about,
I got a board of health.
what about
meeting
September
at
5th,
4:05.
Tuesday? Do we have city council that
A bit
night?
earlier than that.
Why not August 23rd?
Planning, will the planning want to be there? I don't.
August 23rd.
August 21st.
August 21st?
You want it on a Monday?
Yep.
Yeah,
What, would we do it in an evening?
sure. You had it on a Friday before.
But that was with the tournament. That was tied in with the tournament. That's why it was on a Friday.
August 23rd. Well, that is back to school night, not that it matters. It doesn't
So
matter to me.
the evening scenario would be more agreeable to more people. Those at work that couldn't come during the day.
September 22nd.
No. Oh, well, the tournament's 15th and 16th.
15th and
Sorry.
16th is a
Sorry.
tournament.
But didn't you propose September 22nd?
We're gonna have.
No, August. Or-
No, I mean, back in the,
I don't know.
Original.
22nd.
what was, oh, 15th? Well, either way, I'm gone from the 7th to the 26th, so, but you can still have it then, but my whole purpose for this is let's move it up a month and get started.
Let's do August 21st.
Okay, August 21st.
At 6 o'clock, 6:30.
What time is back to school night?
I think it starts at. It is.
For some of the schools. I don't think it, I think we had to change it then.
Okay.
We'll figure out the time for sure.
Make it so.
Is it back to school night?
Jean-Luc Picard, make it so. Engage.
And then if
Got it.
everybody's comfortable, I will plan on a September 1st RFP distribution. Work with PVPA and also email it out to the council so everybody's aware on what's going out. And I'll just need to make sure whatever's included in that meets the requirements of the current grant that we've received.
Awesome.
All right, we'll talk some more. Maybe us 3 or 4 can talk about some service projects or something, include Tyson and see if it's feasible. If it is, great. If not, I just hate to see that all scraped off and hauled to wherever we pay to haul it to. Rather say, hey, come and get some sod.
Yeah.
And if we got kids to roll it up and stack it on a pallet and people can come and get it, great. If not, we'll figure something else out. But
Maybe I'll bring Cindy into that discussion as well, just to make sure that we're
we'll
not.
talk to her too this week. Okay, 21st, and we'll figure out the exact time.
4:30 to 6:30.
Okay.
Back to school night does.
Thanks. Thanks for all you're doing.
Or just.
Thank you.
Just really
Appreciate
Hang
quick,
out for
just
the rest of
wanna
the meeting if you want.
I want to thank the pitchers for everything they're doing for this project. Like Paul really is, and Elaine pulling the lion's share here.
Thank you so much.
And Amy too, for contributing to like the grant writing, the RFP. It's been really, really beneficial.
Anytime.
Just for the record, we have 2 more grants that we're applying for. One's out right now and 2 more to apply for. So yeah, just trying to get it from anywhere we can.
We have a letter out to major corporation as well, and we expect. I do.
Talk about this after. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but we reached out to the pickleball facilities that are building the indoor courts, like in Pleasant View and Far West, about being involved in sponsoring. I just wonder if they'd want to do it for the advertising. Yeah, I know the pickler guys, so.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, for Because they may want to work on tournaments being together anyways, having an indoor outdoor tournament at the same time or so they may view it as a good investment to advertise.
6:30.
Play outdoors in the summer.
I think 6:30 would be good for the groundbreaking, just because, that school night would be over.
All right, let's get together and we'll talk about the logistics of it all. Okay. Yeah. Item 4 is dump truck. Discussion consideration surplus dump truck number 2, the 1995 International from the fleet at auction with the purchase of a replacement dump truck with plow in the amount of $253,152.90 from Rush International and Reading Truck. Tyson.
You should have both quotes for you in front of you. The ones from International is the chassis and cab. And then the Reading truck is the body and plow equipment that would be put on after the truck arrives. Yep. Yes, sir.
What was in the budget for it?
$254,000. This one, because of the timing when I was getting the quotes and when we were building the budget, I just put it that little bit over what the quotes were at. This would trying to get the fleet down to that 10 to 15 year range is the goal with the plow equipment. The diesels last longer. We don't put as many miles on the equipment per se, but trying to keep in that 10 to 15 year range for that replacement when you do take them to auction. This one's so old, we don't anticipate getting a significant amount back for it. It's getting to the point where you're losing parts pretty regularly on it and the sander falls off and you try to get things rigged back to where it functions and just get that fleet to the younger, more reliable age that keeps them out on the road to accomplish the task rather than in the shop being repaired.
It never snows.
Yeah. Really with these, and we've talked about that a lot with the shop and trying to get trucks that are more specific because you don't do a lot of hauling like we used to in the past. You don't have a lot of the ditches like the ones down 600. We used to do a lot of that and you'd have guys rotating out, but most of that stuff, the 10-wheeler, that was the goal with it is, well, if you're going to haul, then you should have a truck that's appropriate, that's worth hauling in, where the 10-wheeler, you're getting the yards of 3 dump trucks of these smaller pups, which this one is. But we're up to so this would put you at 11, but that's including the specialty ones. So you have 2 that they're only plows. They can't function as anything else. Currently, they don't have another attachment. They're Sanders style. But these smaller pups are the ones that are better for your back roads because some of our bigger winged ones, when you try to put them up in your older areas, they're almost so tall with their 4-wheel drive. It adds, I think it's 2 feet or so to their height over these ones. And then you start getting back into damaging equipment because of your height and hitting trees and the narrow roads. And they're just not effective up there. It almost creates more issues.
Do we get 12 people out plowing snow or 11 people out plowing snow? I mean,
You're usually right around that 6, depending on the time frame. It's about half. And then some when you're also losing trucks. It seems like you usually have about 4 that are down at any given time, depending on the storm. So this number of trucks keeps you at that, where you're in, I guess, quote unquote, full force for what our policy has been to maintain the level of service.
It takes a lot of repair.
Yeah, and some of these, like the CVs, those are back to that total number. Your CVs are more they're used all year long. As soon as the snow's done, that's what we do the tree trimmings and a lot of your hauling stuff with to squeeze into the trees at Shady Lane or up at Wadman. And we use the number 3, which is our next oldest one, the 2008. That one's pretty much become the water leak haul truck, your back trailer. It's just safer to tow that bigger trailer equipment with that CV, tow the mini around to get to the water leaks or to dig out ditches. So that total number, we haven't equipped that particular plow. It has a plow attachments, but we haven't equipped it for a few years now. It's mostly your haul truck for the everyday work. 10-wheeler's your project, but it's you leave the plow on it and it's functional the rest of the year as well.
What's the lead time on these? When do you expect? I mean, it's going to deliver it next week. Is it already sitting
No.
up there? Answers for Steve.
Uh,
That's a Steve question. Is it already sitting up there?
Hiding back behind the salt shed. But no, it's we might get lucky if you get to use it for this
Winter.
next season.
Isn't it? Yeah, that's a fire truck they're looking at is 2.5 years out, 2.5 to 3 years out. So
Yeah, they're pushing them out further and further. The heavier, when we go to try to replace the 4-wheel drive with the wing and keep the replacing out those other ones with the wings for that, to get that second plow pass, that one's going to be more difficult. They were talking 2 years out for those ones.
crazy stuff.
So yeah, I wouldn't expect to see it until late in the year. It seems like they always try to make it sound like you'll have it for the season, but in reality, by the time they get the body or the chassis and then get it to the reading truck guys, you're in line behind all the UDOT and any other truck that was already approved.
Okay, questions? I'm sorry, I stole Steve's question. Dang it. Sorry, Steve. Can become the running joke. Yeah. Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion.
The motion would be to surplus truck number 2.
And approve the,
Replacement.
I'll make a motion. Surplus dump truck number 2 and to approve the amount of $253,152.09 for the purchase of a replacement dump truck with plow.
Second.
motion by Nelson, second by Arrington. Further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, closed meeting. I don't believe we need a closed meeting today. So item 6 is other business. Chief.
Police department.
I don't think your microphone's on. There you
There we go. A little 6-year-old that was injured in the lawnmower incident is back home, is in good spirits. Police department's going to plan a little something to take up to her, or do something for her and the family. And that's up and coming. About half of it. Yeah, it's a sad deal, but she's pretty upbeat for everything she's been through and remarkable. We had a couple officers go down to the hospital in Salt Lake when she was down there and visited with her and took her a stuffed bear. So we haven't decided quite what we're going to do and when for it, but it'll be up and coming. Other than that, we're staying really busy. Detectives are kind of swamped with some big cases that are working. And I'm just glad them run with them. And if anything is counsel worthy, we'll certainly keep you posted on. Other than that, we're having a meeting this week with it's next week with the crossing guards. We do an annual training get them all their equipment, get them trained up, get assignments made, and got a couple. We lost one sub, and we've put 2 more on. Just make sure we have enough substitutes when we need them. So we got a great bunch of gals that do that. They're very dedicated and do a great job. So we'll get them trained up and get them the equipment they need and get them ready to go on the first day of school. And the officers, we're also going to do some crossing school crosswalk blitzes and kind of keep an eye on those for first week or 2. Make sure people are educated on how to drive through a school zone. Other than that, we're staying busy and life goes on.
Tyson, you have any? I do have a question for Tyson. Painting of crosswalks, is that something we do or getting started or?
Yeah, so the group that we approved to come do basically the whole city, they're still telling us they should get in and get the crosswalks done before school starts, but the rest of the striping will fall in after. So I know Michael's still getting after them, and we talked about that one yesterday. So they're supposed to still make it as what we've been told. Yes. So
Yeah, anything?
going 2,300 are finally, after the valve issues that we had to work through, and their paving should be done by now.
4,300.
Yes.
Yeah, 43. He said 23.
Oh, sorry, 4,300 north.
What are we doing in
Well,
Harrisville?
350 west, the border. Turned out great I've seen it all the way up till the last pass. They've got some scheduling issues because that kept getting pushed back. You'll see the overlays on PV Drive. Those are scheduled for Friday.
We had a person injured on Pleasant View Drive, where the bump sign is.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yes, the 70-year-old on a bike. And so I don't know if we can temporarily, I don't know what we can do there. I was like, there's a bump sign.
Yeah, and that's pretty standard. I text the Parsons supervisor because I got word of it that morning. I let him know and just said, hey, this happened. Wanted to make you aware. Last I seen, all your signs were up in the appropriate places, but you might. And he sent a guy out to check, and so they made their formal packet for what they do in those situations. So,
Okay.
But they felt that they had everything that
Covered?
you're required to in that situation. But yes, that was unfortunate news. Yeah, that'll be Friday. Yep.
And the water project on 800 West.
Utilities group, they've been getting that painted. They got the notices out to the individual homes that are directly affected, and then throughout the project, because it's got some complicated tie-ins with how many are on that one, that they'll do notices as each one of those items come up. But they've got it all painted up, and the plan's still to break ground on that one next week as well. So that one will start right when the road one's hopefully wrapping up. They've got most of the sidewalk replaced for the trip hazard mitigation.
I'm out working on those.
Yeah, it's a lot of good projects moving along, a lot of big ones. So
I didn't catch a timeline on Pleasant View Drive. Is that Friday?
Friday. Yep.
They gonna chip seal after that, or they won't?
So the chip seal were pushed off until the spring. So they'll, as soon as the temperatures are right again, because once you get this late, if you get that chip down, it doesn't stick as well. You want as much time as you can to bake in and have that road traffic, and that'll be the same for the seals. Yeah. Chip seal's tricky. It's definitely got its place, and it has a great benefit to sealing your road up and protecting it, and does offer some extra traffic slip protection for your car but it does come with its own cons.
600 over to, oh, did he? Boyd did? Oh, that's not good. So I don't remember that.
Yeah, so that section's from 600 just to the island of the roundabout. Because when Noman Estates came in and they finished off that, and then you had Serenity, they were trying to do that. They left the lip down so they didn't have to do the mill all the way down the curb and gutter. But then where it got pushed back, so it's just that section. Yep, and then from the roundabout to 800, you have that old 4-inch water main that we can't even locate because it's so deep from the different layers as they built from the X to the roundabout. So that water project, and that'll pretty much button up everything to the west end of the city for the water. And then there's a storm drain project called out, I think in the next 3 years, that'll rip up that middle section. So that little piece roundabout to 800 won't happen for a few years now because of those other departments' projects.
So when you say roundabout, like, are we surfacing the roundabout this time?
No, not this
Going
time.
to it, but
Yep.
not.
Just to the east island on Pleasant View Drive, just right in front of it.
There's still seems to be several potholes stuff that have been patched.
Yeah, that bad one right in the,
West side of
yes. Yeah, we were talking about almost cutting that section out and just doing a bigger single patch rather than just potholing because they're not holding at this point.
All right, thanks, Amy.
Just a couple of quick things. Appreciated some dialogue with Councilmember Nielsen and Yuri just about our planning processes. And just as a note, we are working proactively with an attorney that's helping us draft ordinances, John Geilman, on updating our subdivision ordinance. So I was going to bring a presentation today about our process and about how that works, but we will be bringing that as we bring forward some proposals for amendment to meet the requirements in state law and also some prospective improvements and including a checklist. I know Councilmember Gibson's shown a lot of passion on that too. So
Yeah, we had a nice, it was about 4 or 5 hour
yeah.
work session was,
long meeting.
yeah, last week with staff and just
Yeah, with our attorney.
a lot of great ideas. Yeah, he brought some, we got some really good checklists and we went through SB 174 really carefully. And the first goal is to make sure everything meets the code. The second, and I think it's really important for, we've been asking for a long time, is we want to be able to go, well, actually it'd be all online now, but be able to go, this is what you got to do. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, well.
And frankly, for a
Well, right,
subdivision, it is quite expensive. But at least the expectations will be clear up front, and then just tweaking our code so that they're right now in going through it, there's multiple references of multiple things, and it is a bit bumpy and messy to navigate. And so really kind of putting everything in one place and cleaning up how that approach is.
So we will, he's going to get back with this.
I think we have a meeting next week scheduled.
And then meet again and have another session.
But we will need to get the changes in place by February, and I'd like to get them in much sooner than that, just so that we have a trial run. And if there's tweaking that's needed with the ordinance, we have some time to do that. So I've got a kind of aggressive timeline I'm trying to work through on that one, but there is a lot more to come. So appreciate the questions on that. And we did have a follow-up meeting with the Sugar Dog Company, the group that's putting in the soda shop near the Straw Market. And it was a very good, productive discussion. There was some confusion because this is one of their first times developing on what the planning commission process and site plan approval entailed. They were under the impression that the planning commission could outright deny their ability to operate the business within the zone. And that's absolutely not true because it is an allowable use in the zone. And so there was some good clarification there, and it really eased a lot of tension and discomfort.
They were very quick to point out to Brandon that this, oh, we're sorry, we misunderstood. We're not developers. And so what we got out of it, the takeaway we got was like, okay, we need in our processes to do a better job of, because we make the assumption, well, yeah, if you just got to go through these steps and you get, because, the law says you get it. And we all understand that, but
Right, but maybe they don't know what the
Yeah.
processes are.
right. And so it's like, we need to kind of fine tune the front end. So, and so we kind of talked about in concept, when we look at a concept, especially if these people are not real true developers, kind of explain to them, look, this is, if you get the zone, it just depends where they start in the process, whether they got to get the general plan, you might not get it. We'll explain to that. If they get that changed, then the rezone, you might not get that. But if you get that and it's allowed in the zone, then you just got to meet this checklist and you'll be approved. That's,
Sounds like
and that's where they didn't, we're making the assumption, wow, make this checklist, just make this checklist, and there's like, and they're thinking, we got to go before the city council because we don't want to do all this stuff or not city council, the planning commission. Because what if they say no? And we're like, well, they can't say no. Yeah, that's what, but we know that, right? And so it was a very good meeting with them. And they're like, aha, okay, we're a lot more comfortable now. So good meeting.
Yeah, it was a really good discussion with them. With the funding that went in place, and Tyson might speak to this a little bit, but the ADA project is moving forward and we're looking at coordinating that with some of the improvements needed at the Veterans Monument project. And we'll talk about that in our JRC meeting tomorrow too, but there may be some displacement of parking as they're putting that in. I think we'll be looking at having the public parking over here and employees will be walking a little bit just to be able to allow the public to park more closely. And there will be a walkable path and a safe path for the public to navigate getting into the building. And then just a note, and I'm very involved with the emergency management group with the county. There was a recent request or ask on the city's interest, and we really haven't had the discussion, but in Code Red. So Code Red is a software that the county has been utilizing the past several years, something they've allowed cities at times to use to communicate to their residents. Communication can occur through cell phones, but then also even sometimes if you've got and I don't even know what they're called, an Amazon Prime device or a Google device. My tech skills are really good. And so there's some options there. Some of the cities are going independent in RFP. Some of them are looking to work with the county. The county is asking and have not disclosed a specific amount, but possible city buy-in and payment to participate. So there's a lot of questions. They asked for us to participate in advocating to WACOG. And I said, well, I'm not comfortable doing that until I have a discussion with my elected officials clearly. And really, I don't have a strong preference or feeling. There are different companies out there. I did ask one of the cities if they could get us a copy of their RFP that they're doing, get some information from them as they go through that process. And we do have our CERT teams and there's some means of communication there. Obviously, there's a strong religious population here that, we're working and coordinating emergency management efforts with them. So I don't know if there's any strong preference or feelings on collaborating or not, or if more information is needed, which is fine as well.
I think more information is going to come because we're going to ask for it. But just so the council knows, Code Red was purchased through a federal grant, and it's a regional type thing. So the feds, it's not been real robust. You had to opt into it. I don't know. There was a missing 9-year-old. I don't know how many of you got a notification about that. But if you haven't opt into Code Red, you should. You can go out and do that. But they've said, Code Red have said, well, we've really upped our new release. We're going to do a lot of these things that you're looking at paying for. So that's where I'm at, is like, well, I just shouldn't let the federal government pay for it. And if Code Red is up their game and there were some problems with cities using Code Red, but I think we've worked through that. Anyway, a lot more information to come. Thanks.
Because I get it.
Yeah, they used it.
Of the
Mhm.
recording.
And we could use it too. Yeah, if we had a missing something or whatever, we could do the code. And it was found, somebody actually through Code Red, saw the girl, followed her, called in the dispatch and said, I think this is the girl that I can.
Often into all, I
Yeah.
think I get an email, a phone call and. a
Yeah.
text.
Yeah.
But
So,
it seems not very good if we have to opt into it though. So I don't,
right. And that's what they're changing. I think they didn't have the ability to do the geocoding to allow the capture of cell phones. And so, but I think that's been
Yeah, now they're.
more to come. So, yeah.
So I
You
mean,
might
that,
hear
that gives
something
me
about
a good general,
We'll come back.
direction that we need more information. We're really not
Need more
going to take a
information.
hard stance. So
Exactly.
that's helpful to me because there's just a little bit of pressure there. And then just as a heads up, as we've been doing, I think we'll be scheduling some quarterly meetings with each of you just to kind of go through various items and appreciate all the collaboration on that. So that's my list. Sorry, I had a list today.
No, Laurie had 3 or 4 things.
Evan.
No? Oh, okay. No?
No, I'd sent a message earlier about questions about lacrosse, and I'm going to meet with Amy and the mayor on Tuesday, I think. So that's it.
No,
Nothing?
No.
She's anxious to get out of here. Okay. 7:00. She's like,
Just a quick reminder, we have a future thing on Monday, but Cindy and I we're trying just for fun, we're still gonna do the Libertas Institute Children's Market, but we're doing the Children's Fair, whatever, with the food trucks. And we already have over 20, I think 25, almost 30 applicants who've signed up. So come on Monday, support the kids.
It's not.
This one's not with Libertas, but they are gonna do. Anyway, but this will be cool. So come to that and we have our big water slide at the end of this month too. It's back to school bath. So
Right. Okay. That it?
that's it. So far,
Dave?
unless you want me to keep going.
No?
If we can actually clarify a date for the
21st.
football, 21st.
I put it on my calendar if anyone wants me to send it as a calendar invite.
Yeah.
And back to school nights. till
Never-
6:30, so
I always put everything on the
We
calendar.
probably ought to figure out something. I don't know if we're going to meet. The 4 of us will
Okay.
meet. Like,
Do you want me to put tentative on it? Oh,
no, let's meet
Oh, what
soon
you want
and figure out who's doing what to put this together.
okay, I'll get a meeting
PVPA.
scheduled. You know how good I am at that.
We already have a scheduled meeting. Maybe we can pack to back it.
Oh,
Yeah.
tomorrow, yeah.
I need to know how many gold shovels you need.
Oh, yeah.
You only have the 3,
Are they gold plated?
basically.
We can spray.
Let's use pickleball paddles,
That'd be fun.
Oh, that would
There
be.
you go.
pickleball themed shovels, Tyson, if you can please put that on.
Wait,
the
wait,
agenda.
wait.
I'm out.
Pickleball paddles.
And Dave? Nothing? All right. I want to clarify and just make sure our next Founder's Day is June 22nd, right? Okay.
It's always.
Because last night, yeah, the Hill Air Force Base, yeah, announced, yeah, but they're doing it the next weekend, the 5th weekend. So that's good. They won't,
They're already working
Yeah.
on flyover for next year. 'Cause
so,
we have to do it a year in advance. So we-
Oh,
it's not on.
okay. If there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn so I can leave.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Only
All right,
few
we're adjourned.
texts and tell us where he's going.
Okay, well.